this time I wanna tell you about and I wanna explain about quadratic equation. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Komang Anggun Puspita Mahayunupinate. You can call me Anggun, and I am from class B, and my student number is 20130111057. Okay, that's all a little bit about me. Let me continue to the letter. Before that, you should know about what is the quadratic equation first. And the definition of quadratic equation is an equation of the second degree in x. In other words, a quadratic equation is an equation of degree 2. And the standard form of quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a and b are the coefficients, x is the variable, and c is the constant term. And the first condition for an equation to be a quadratic equation is the coefficient of x squared is a non-zero term, or a not equal 0. Okay, I have three example. Find which is a quadratic equation and not a quadratic equation. And for the first example is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0. This equation is a quadratic equation because the equation has second degree of x. And the a is 2, b is 5, and c is 3. And the second, x squared minus 3x equals 0. This equation also has a second degree in x, and this is a quadratic equation. And the third is 5x minus 3 equals 0. This example is not a quadratic equation because in this equation missing x squared. In other words, is a equals 0, which means it can be a quadratic. Hidden quadratic equation. As we saw before, the standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. But sometimes a quadratic equation does not look like that. This is a three example of hidden quadratic equation. And the form first is x squared equals 3x minus 1. This equation, we can move all terms to left-hand side, and the standard form we get is x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. And the second is 2w squared minus 2w equals 5. And for the explain is, we can move 5 to the left, and we get the standard form is 2w squared minus 4w minus 5 equals 0. And the third is z minus 1 equals 3. We can move 3 to the left, and we get the standard form of quadratic equation is z squared minus z minus 3 equals 0. Quadratic equation formula. Okay, the next we should learn is about quadratic equation formula. The solution or roots of a quadratic equation are given by the quadratic formula. The formula for a quadratic equation is used to find the roots of equation. Since quadratic have a degree equal to 2, therefore there will be two solutions for the equation. And the formula is x equals minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac divided to a. And the sign of plus minus indicates there will be two solutions for the x. Okay, let's move to the discriminant. As you see in the before slide is b squared minus 4ac. In the formula before, it is called the discriminant because it can discriminate between the possible types of answer. When b squared minus 4ac is positive, we get two real solutions. And when it is zero, we get just one real solution. There are both answer are the same. And when it is negative, we get a pair of complex solution. Examples of quadratic. There are four examples of quadratics in this material. And the first is below are the illustrations of quadratic expression of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And the example is x squared minus x minus 9 equals 0. And the second one is 5x squared minus 2x minus 6 equals 0. And the second example of quadratic with the absence of a c as a constant. There are x squared plus 2x equals 0 and minus cx squared minus 3x equals 0. And the third is the example of a quadratic equation in factor form. There are x minus 4 and x plus 2 equals 0. And the result obtained after solving, we get x squared minus 2x minus 8 equal 0. And the second is 2x plus 3 and 3x minus 2 equal 0. And after the solving, we get 6x squared plus 5x minus 6 equal 0. And the fourth is the example of quadratic equation with an absence of linear coefficient bx. And for the examples are x squared minus 16 equals 0 and 9x squared plus 49 equals 0. Solve quadratic equation. There are four basically methods of solving quadratic equation. First is factoring, second is completing the square, third is using quadratic formula, and the last one is taking the square root. I want to tell you one by one for the four methods of solving quadratic equation. The first is factoring. I want to tell by the examples. The example is 2x squared minus 2x minus 12 equals 0. We can factoring this equation. We can find x minus 3, x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0, and we get the solve is x equals 3 and x minus 2. The second is completing the square. This is also I want to explain by the example. The example is solve 2x squared minus x minus 1 equals 0. First, we can move the constant term to the other side of the equation. 2x squared minus x equals 1. And then dividing both sides by 2. X squared minus x divided 2 equals 1 divided 2. Next, we should add the square of half of the coefficient of x, b divided 2a squared. On both the sides, it is 1 divided 16. And we get the x squared minus x divided 2 plus 1 divided 16 equals 1 divided 2 plus 1 divided 16. And then we can factor the left side. We get 1 minus, x minus 1 divided 4, we can square and equals 9 divided 16. And we get 3 divided 4 square. And then we can taking root on both sides. We get x minus 1 divided 4 equals plus minus 3 divided 4. And we can add 1 divided 4 on both sides. And therefore, we get two solutions on this solving. We get x, it is 1, and x, it is minus 1 divided 2. And the third is using quadratic formula. So 5x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. As we know, A is 5, B is 6, and C is 1. We use the quadratic formula that I explained before. That is a minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4az divided to a. Put that a, b, c on that quadratic formula, and then we solve it until we get to solve it. It is x equals minus 0.2 or negative 1. Okay, and the last one is taking the square root. We can use this method for the equation such as s squared plus a squared equals 0. And the example is solve x squared minus 50 equals 0. We move 50 to the right and we get x squared equals 50. And then with taking the roots both sides, square root x squared equals plus minus square root 50. And we get x equals plus minus square root 2 times 5 times 5. And then we get the solve is x equals plus minus 5 square root 2. Okay, that's all that I can explain for you. I hope this video can useful for all of you. And I say thank you and have a nice day.